Protests have erupted in the United States after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu landed in Washington, D.C. yesterday. Protesters pulled a flash mob stunt at the Capitol Rotunda in red T-shirts, sitting on the floor, chanting and clapping and putting pressure on the Biden administration to immediately cease all arms shipments to Israel ahead of Netanyahu's address to Congress. Kamala Harris has already announced that she won't preside over or even attend Netanyahu's address to Congress tomorrow. There's one good reason there, I reckon, not to vote for her. Let me bring in Daniel Aghion, President of the Executive Council of Australian Jewry. He joins us live from Melbourne. This is pretty disappointing, isn't it, Daniel, that the Prime Minister of Israel is going to address Congress and the Vice President herself, let alone others, are deciding to effectively boycott it?
Well, Chris, it's obviously this is a leader of a country that is a significant ally with the United States. You would have thought that he would be Prime Minister Netanyahu would be accorded the respect of his position and reflective of that warm relationship between Israel and the United States. I will say that on this one occasion, I will give Vice President Harris a pass, and the reason is that last week, as we know, she was not the presidential candidate. This week she is, and she says she's campaigning, I think, in Indianapolis on the day. Look, for the moment, let's take her at her word and let's see ultimately what happens.
I think you're being far too kind. I think it's political cowardice, and she's bowing to the extreme left of her own party. She is hard left herself, and she's not according the Israeli Prime Minister the respect he deserves. It's more important she does it now, given she's going to be the candidate. But there's a lot of this in the Congress. Let's have a listen to what some of them have been saying.
I am not attending. I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu has any interest in getting to peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, there you go. This demonising of Israel and Netanyahu continues apace. It's happening in our country, Daniel. The New South Wales Labor Party is having its conference this weekend, and there are expectations there of a lot of protests, and there'll probably be a lot of debate about this. The Greens are attacking Labor. They're saying they're too friendly to Israel and should be bringing more Palestinian refugees into this country. What are your thoughts on those two developments?
Well, the Labor government has sort of tried to tread this very careful line and to sort of almost like not offend anybody. And our position on that is Israel is fighting a defensive war. The government has made it clear that Israel has a right to defend itself as it can and it should. So we don't quite see why Labor needs to sort of tread this line for fear of not offending one group or another within our community. As to this question of the refugees, I answer it this way, Chris. We've seen material about people within Gaza who have actually been brave and courageous enough to protest against the oppression and terrorism of Hamas and say that that is not what they want. Now, they're a very small group and a very small minority, but in consequence of that, they've been attacked. They've been beaten, assaulted within an inch of their life. Now, if a person like that, who is brave enough to stand up to Hamas and say this is not what is in the interests of the people of Gaza, then and that person sought refugee status within Australia because of fear of rightful fear of oppression and risk to their life from their own government, dictatorial though it is and terrorist though it is, that kind of person, I would contend, would fit well within the kinds of values that we in Australia understand.
Sort of refugee you would welcome, yeah. The worry is that they're not vetting people closely enough. The worry is you're bringing people here who could be sympathisers to Hamas. So we shall see. Thanks so much for joining us, Daniel. I appreciate it. Daniel Aghion there from the Executive Council of Australian Jewry. We've got to get to a